A long, long time ago, in the restless heart of Nairobi, lived a man called Omar, a man whose stinginess was so legendary that even the market women used to whisper his name like a warning. Omar was not the normal I don't like wasting money type. No, he was the type who would argue over 50 shillings until the sun went down. The type who flashed missed calls like bullets, expecting you to call him back. The type who parked his car 5 blocks away just to save fuel, then bragged about his discipline like it was a national achievement. And before you start saying, maybe Omar didn't have money, let me shock you. Omar was one of the richest men in Nairobi, a business giant with branches scattered across the country like confetti. He wasn't stingy because he lacked. No, he was stingy because he believed money was a delicate spirit. Once it left your pocket, it might never return. He held his wallet the way a drowning man holds his last breath. Yet, despite all this, Omar once knew how to pretend. Ah, poor Aisha. If only she knew the kind of marriage she was walking into. Before the marriage, Omar played the role of a lover like his life depended on it. He would take a long convoy of cars just to see Aisha for 10 minutes. He wrote poems, bought gifts, quoted love lines that could make even the neighbor's cat blush. He used to whisper, Aisha, without you, I am nothing. But years later, she would discover that the only thing he truly valued, the only thing he worshipped, was his money. Everyone believed he adored her. Even the neighbors would shake their heads and say, this Omar will love this girl till the sun stops shining. Hmm, if only they knew. If only someone saw the shadow behind his smile. If only Aisha had listened to the quiet warnings in her spirit. But that is how tragedy starts. Softly, sweetly, with a man who knows how to pretend. The moment Aisha became his wife, Omar changed with the speed of Nairobi rain. 1 minute, sunshine. The next minute, thunder. The same man who used to buy shawarma for her without blinking now complained when she bought toothpaste. Toothpaste of this brand? Aisha, are there no cheaper ones? Must everything finish my money? He did not care if the cheap ones burned the gums or peeled the tongue. His wallet was all he cared about. This was the same man who once offered to pay for her mother's surgery with his chest high, but now refused to pay school fees for his own children until the school threatened fire and brimstone. Eh, let them stay at home, he said lazily. I will homeschool them. Homeschool them? A man who didn't even know where his children's homework books were. Ha! Slowly, the house became a battlefield where only Aisha fought. She woke the children up, fed them, clothed them, rushed to work, returned, cooked, cleaned the house, and still answered Omar whenever he shouted her name from the sitting room. He would lie on the couch, his legs crossed like a small emperor, and call out, Aisha, what are we eating today? We? a man who contributed nothing, not even pepper. One day, she mentioned that the children's socks had too many holes. Eh, sew it with needle and thread, he told her, without even lifting his eyes from his phone. Haba, sew socks with needle and thread? Aisha looked at him, wondering if she had married a human being or a stone carved from Mount Sinai. The years rolled like a slow, painful drumbeat. The children grew, not because their father helped them, but because their mother refused to give up on them. Aisha stretched herself like rubber, working day and night, until her bones felt like borrowed sticks. She never complained loudly. She only cried in private, wiped her tears, and kept moving. Her love for her children was the only thing that kept her alive. Slowly, the children became adults, sharp, hardworking, and successful. The first son became a medical doctor and relocated to the United States. The second daughter became a software developer, got a job with a big tech company in Canada, and relocated. The last, well, he remained in Nairobi, opened a big auto company where he sells luxury cars. But one thing was certain, they remembered everything. They remembered who paid school fees and who said, let them skip a term. It builds character. They also remembered who comforted them and who shouted at them. And when fortune found them, they reached back only to their mother. They flew her to Canada, to the United States, to places her younger self never dreamed of. Aisha began to glow again, sleeping deeply, laughing loudly, breathing freely. For the first time in decades, she tasted what peace felt like. And Omar, he remained in the same house he once ruled with a fist as tight as a padlock. At first, he didn't notice anything. He thought Aisha was just visiting. He thought the children were just busy. But as days folded into weeks, and weeks into months, something began to creep into silence. Something began to creep into the silence. Loneliness. Real loneliness. The kind that eats deep. He walked from room to room and felt the walls stare back at him. No children arguing. No Aisha humming in the kitchen. No footsteps. No laughter. Nothing. Just the clock. Ticking. Ticking. A reminder of time and of how much of it he had wasted. He tried to reach out, to make amends by calling the children. But they answered like distant officials, speaking to a stranger. Hello, Baba, I'm busy. Baba, can I call you back? Some didn't even pick up at all. The silence swallowed him whole. He kept asking himself, of what use was his money now with no one to spend it on? Then, one afternoon, it happened. Omar woke with a pressure in his chest, a heavy, crushing weight like a mountain pressing down on his ribs. His breath came in short, sharp bursts. The room spun. The walls leaned forward like they wanted to swallow him. He reached for his phone, but his hand slipped. He tried to shout, but the sound died in his throat. He tried to stand, but his legs melted beneath him. He collapsed to the floor, trembling. For the first time in his life, Omar felt fear, real fear. There was no Aisha running to him, no child calling an ambulance, no neighbor he had shown kindness to, no friend, no relative, just him and the house. A house that had become a graveyard before death even arrived. He gasped one final time, alone, not killed by sickness, but by the empty life he had crafted with his own hands. When the news reached Aisha and the children, they did not scream, they did not fall, they didn't even crumble. They simply said, "Oh," no sign of hatred, no sign of anger, just the same cold distance he gave them. For months, Nairobi whispered his name. A man who abandons his family when he is strong will be abandoned by that same family when he is weak. And mothers told their daughters, before you marry a man, don't look at how he treats you. Look at how he treats the people he doesn't need. Aisha lives her remaining years, surrounded by love, finally resting from the burden she had carried alone. And Omar's story became a warning, carried from mouth to mouth, generation to generation. Be good to others, especially those around you, so that in your old age, they will not abandon you. For whatsoever a man sows is what he will reap. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe for more, and stay tuned for the next one.